They don't shoot you dead anymore. No, they just let the desert do it slow. Bury you halfway in silence, where even your screams dry up before the wind can carry them. It was late July, and the Mojave cooked like hell's waiting room. That kind of heat makes metal twist and makes good men mean. It was there that Jack Boone discovered her, or at least what remained of her. Only the upper half, protruding from the beach like a discarded doll that someone attempted to erase from memory. Her face was destroyed. Dust consumed each wrinkle. One eye swollen shut, the other shut tight like it had witnessed something too terrible to ever open once more. Her lips split, sunburned, painted red. They left whatever was left of her dress in shreds. Ripped at the ribs, shredded along one thigh. Whoever buried her intended her to disappear. Not quite die, but just disappear. They left her shallow, perhaps hours before Jack chanced upon her. That was her only good fortune, and Jack wasn't out searching to be anyone's savior. He hadn't even attempted to save himself in years. It was his dog, Dusty, that halted first. Wiser than most men, faithful as an old jug, Dusty stood still alongside a sun-kissed boulder. Didn't growl, didn't flinch, only gazed. Jack tracked his eyes and saw it. First hair, then flesh, then a terror that seized upon something deep within him. Not terror for her, not sympathy, something more primal, like regret stirring from a long, bitter hibernation. She was still alive, barely. Each breath a sound of paper rubbing dry bone. Jack did not call out, did not swear. He knelt beside her, watered her slowly against the lips. She winced, coughed, but did not awaken. And Jack, a man who never hesitated for another, picked her up without speech. Not out of compassion, not even pity. It was duty, perhaps, or guilt masquerading as instinct. He took her to a dilapidated hunting shack. Left years before. The last place Jack ever thought something good could go down. He wrapped her in his jacket, built the fire, and sat with her while Dusty stood watch. Eyes fixed hard on the door as if the devil himself would come walking in next. Jack knew enough blood and bones. This wasn't some spur-of-the-moment thing. No bandit left her like that. This was personal. Slow. Meant to break, not kill. That's how people die out here. Not quick, but forgotten. She didn't wake that night. Just breathed, shallow and stubborn. Jack did what he could. Cleaned her up, washed the blood out of her hair, removed thorns from her feet like he was removing sins. She didn't flinch, didn't cry. Dusty didn't leave her side. By morning, the shack smelled of boiled water and old whiskey. She looked a little better, but still more ghost than girl. Jack ripped up an old shirt for bandages. He wasn't trained, but war had taught him enough. You learn to read pain in men's faces. You patch what you can, and you keep your mouth shut. It wasn't until the second day her eyes opened. Green. Not soft, though. Not the sort that's in flowers. It was the sort that grows upon stone. Sharp. Cold. Her stare didn't just fall on him. It sized him up. Judged him. She didn't say anything. Just stared. He gave her water. She drank it. Still nothing. At last, she attempted to sit up. Slower yet came her first sentence. Not her name, though. It was, "Why'd you stop?" Jack said nothing. Just looked at Dusty, then at her. "Dog found you." She blinked, then queried, "Why didn't you leave me?" He shrugged. Didn't seem right. She nodded once. Tiny, but like it said it all she had to know about him. She revealed her wrist that afternoon. Shown him. A burn scar, circular and deep like someone had intentionally pressed fire to her flesh. Jack didn't say anything, but his stomach turned over. He recognized that scar. Had seen it once before, years past. Marked on a letter that was meant to alter his life. A letter he never wrote. And here it was. Stamped into the arm of a girl somebody left to die. That evening Jack didn't sleep. Couldn't. Slogged in front of the fire, gazing into the flames as if they could spell out the past. That crumpled letter went round in his head. A recollection half sung and half shouted. He never wrote back then. Never opened that door. But destiny did. And now it had sauntered right into his shack. Whatever second chance life had given them, It was not going to be easy. And mercy? That was soon to be tested to the limit. Ruth was only just getting back on her feet, just barely, when the first bullet cut through the window. It didn't boom, just cracked, crisp and arid, like the desert itself had opened its mouth. Jack stood stock still, tin cup flying out of his hand. Before he could grab his rifle, a second shot was loosed even nearer, punching wood directly above his head. He knew in an instant, they weren't firing blind. They were here to complete the job. "Get down!" Jack yelled, pulling Ruth behind the table. Dusty gave a single bark before howling in agony. "Struck," Jack grunted. "Not good, but good enough." The dog hopped to the corner, growling low. Jack peered through a gap in the wall. A figure was crouched by the old water tower, black coat, low brim hat. Not some desert bandit. This one was neat, clean, professional. "Stay here," Jack told her. Ruth didn't listen. She crawled to Dusty, ripped cloth from her shirt, bound the wound tight and fast, like she'd done it before. Jack stood over her. Something was living in her now, not merely surviving, something keen, intense. Another bullet ripped through the doorframe. Splinters fell. Ruth did not even blink. She picked up the Colt, moved toward the side window, took one breath, then flashed up and fired. A shriek came. She'd struck something. Jack opened the door with a kick, rifle at shoulder height. Ruth was on his heels. The shooter was crawling now, shoulder soaked in red. He looked too young for a job like this, but his eyes weren't scared. They were hollow, empty. Jack leveled his gun. Ruth stopped him. "I've got this," she said, stepping forward. She knelt beside the boy. "Who sent you?" Blood dribbled from his lip. He grinned through it. "They know she's alive," he rasped. "And they know he helped." Jack's back stiffened. Ruth's eyes narrowed. "Why?" she demanded. The kid hacked forcibly. "Not meant to ask. Just clean up the mess." She got up, said nothing, and wrapped it up with a single shot. The ensuing silence was denser than the shooting. Jack didn't say a word, just glared. Ruth wiped the barrel down, sat on the porch, expression blank, breathing slow. No crying, no shaking, just that stillness. Like she'd crossed a line she wasn't returning from. She did not dream that night. She oiled her gun once more, hand-fed Dusty, sat by the fire with steady eyes. When Jack finally asked her if she was ready to talk, she replied, "Not yet, but soon." They did not speak immediately after the murder. Jack pulled the body out back, rolled it into a ditch. Ruth sat beside the fire, knuckles clenched on the Colt. Her silence spoke louder than any scream. That shot was not a warning. It was a verdict. Jack recognized that type of shot, clean and final, from someone who had already determined how the day would end. He dot Minated her a drink. She didn't accept it, just sat by the fire, staring at it as if it was sharing with her secrets only she understood. "Was it them?" she asked. Jack said nothing. He didn't have to. One shot could be chance. Two? That's a signature. That evening, Jack discovered her standing barefoot outside, gazing up at the stars as if they owed her something. She indicated towards the moon, thin and fissured. "Is how I felt in the pit," she said. "Like I could see the light, but it couldn't see me." Jack did not respond, just sat next to her on the ground and handed her the flask. That's when she revealed the name. The one who hired the Sundown Riders. Not to just kidnap her, but to wipe out her family from existence. That's when Jack ceased being cautious. He entered, unearthed the map they'd stolen from Dust Whip, and drew a red X. Ruth didn't ask where they were headed. She merely nodded, turned, and loaded the guns. Jack didn't wait for dawn. He saddled the horses under a dying moon, air heavy with more than heat. Ruth was already awake, boots tied, gun loaded. No words were necessary, only a nod. They weren't going out for justice. This was the culmination of a hunt. They found Cole, last of the Sundown Riders, taking cover in a ruined trading post half buried in sand. But he wasn't taking cover. He was waiting, gun raised, smile icy, like he'd been waiting for this since the day they'd left her in the dirt. Jack moved in first, boots heavy, rifle firm. But Ruth, she moved like lightning, faster than fear, faster than memory. One shot straight through Cole's shoulder. Not fatal, just final. He hit the floor cursing, more in shock than pain. Ruth stepped close, looked him dead in the eyes. "This is for everything you thought I'd forget." She could have finished it right there, but she didn't. She turned, walked away, left him bleeding in silence. Because not everything requires a grave. Sometimes it just requires to be seen. They rode out slowly. No music, no cheers, just the wind, the dust, and the heaviness of something long shattered finally coming to rest. And Ruth, she did not mention revenge anymore. She simply lived. With every dawn, she became firmer. With every mile, gentler. Not because she forgot, but because she decided not to allow it to mold her further. Funny thing, healing never appears as the stories. It's not fireworks or forgiveness. It's not a song sounding over the sunset. Sometimes it's simply sitting in silence with someone who did not walk away. And choosing that perhaps you won't either. So what are you holding? What silence? What scar? What name or memory planted just deep enough to continue bleeding? Perhaps it is time to unearth it. Not to suffer again, but to finally breathe. If this tale stirred something in you, if it pushed a bruise you had forgotten existed, subscribe, because Ruth's tale may have reached its conclusion. But yours? Yours is only just beginning.